Hey YouTube, it's Jeff at Darkmoon Metals. In today's video, I'm going to be making a tool that I'm going to eventually need when I start making knife sheaths. Some of you may know that I started to make knives, and one of the happy side effects of becoming a bladesmith is also learning a bit about leather work, because a knife without a sheath isn't always easy to sell. So I started talking to a friend of mine, and he turned me on to this little thing called a burnisher. Now this one is supposed to be mounted in a drill press or a cordless drill, and they're really easy to make. I have a wood lathe, and excuse me, I figured that I'd like to actually sell these at some of the medieval events that I go to, because a lot of people there are crafters, and I've seen these range in price anywhere from a handheld one from $7 all the way on up to about $60 or $70, made from exotic hardwoods like cocobola. So today I'm going to be making the fixturing for my wood lathe, and I'm also going to be making this prototype. So stick around. I hope you enjoy the video. Alright YouTube, this is going to be the first style of burnishing tool that I make. It's going to have a 1/4 inch stainless steel shaft going through a piece of walnut, and it will have the grooves put in with the wood lathe. Unfortunately, I need to put this rod in first to make sure everything stays balanced, so when it is put in a drill press or a cordless drill, it's not going to wobble all over the place. But the downside is putting that through first means I can't put it between the regular centers of my wood lathe. So what I'm going to do is create a chuck system that will allow me to spin between centers using the 1/4 inch bar as the drive shaft. First thing I'm going to do is pop this out, and then I'm going to machine these to fit inside of my lathe. Alright YouTube, I have a piece of 1¼ by 3 inch round stock. Now I need to transfer the power from the spindle to the piece I want to machine. So normally I wouldn't have it this long, but unfortunately in 3/4 by 16 taps all I have is this guy, and as you can tell it is definitely not a bottoming tap. So I need to make sure that I have enough good threads where this piece will go all the way on and sit flush against this plate right here. So I need to make it a little bit longer than I would normally want, but this is what I've got, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. The first thing I'm going to do is put this over on the metal lathe. I'm going to face each end. I'm going to drill the 1/4 inch hole on one end to receive the rod, and I'm going to also drill the appropriate size hole for the 3/4 by 16 tap. Alright guys, both sides are faced. There's a 1/4 inch hole going all the way through. I'm set up with an 11/16 drill bit, which I believe is the appropriate size hole for a 3/4 by 16 tap. I am going to see how well of a job I did sharpening this drill bit, because it was absolutely atrocious. It wouldn't have cut anything, and I did everything by eye, so we'll see if I still got it. It's been a while since I've sharpened a drill bit, but some things are like riding a bike, I hope. Alright, one flute seems to be perfect, the other one not so much. Once I got this out of the lathe and back on the bench grinder, I realized what I did wrong. This drill bit I'll use as an example because I don't want to take this out of the machine again. Basically what I did, I was so focused on these angles, I wasn't paying attention to my angle this way. That actually creates the scooping action that allows the bit to cut into the metal. What I had done is I had created a flat. So one side was okay, the angle on the other was almost non-existent. Once I corrected that, it's cutting a lot better. It's still not perfect, it's throwing out a bunch of little chips, but this drill bit was really old and very, very messed up. I should have taken a picture before I sharpened it, but it's good enough now where it's going to do the job. I'll take time later on and set up a jig and sharpen it correctly. Alright guys, I've got the piece flipped around in the chuck. I'm back at the other end that's got the 1/4 inch hole in it. I'm going to be putting a step in this piece. I want to drop at least a 1/4 inch in diameter off this, if not maybe a little more. This isn't precise at all by any means. I'm just going to create a little bit of a relief so I don't get too close with the wood turning chisels to this face. Alright, well, she fits. On to the next piece. Just about 752 thousandths. Alright. Next thing I'm going to do is take this piece of material and make a cap for the tailstock. So I'm going to face this off on both ends. I'm going to start by drilling a 1/4 inch hole straight through again, just like I did the last time. Alright guys, I'm at the point I need to put a 3/4 inch hole in here. If I need to widen it beyond that, I'll use a boring bar. Now I'm going to try something I've never done before. I came across a bunch of what look like just regular end mills, but they have Morse 2 tapers on them, so they don't really fit in a collet for the milling machine. The tailstock of the Atlas lathe has a Morse 2 taper. Now I've never tried to drill or bore a hole with, I don't even know if this is considered an end mill, because it's not a straight shank. What's the worst that can happen? I've got safety glasses, right? Just going to give that a quick tap, make sure it's fully seated. Alright guys, if nothing else, I'm going to learn something at the expense of a cutting tool that I have no use for whatsoever. So it'll be an interesting experiment to see how well this cuts, if it does anything at all. I mean, it should. Alright YouTube, so let me tell you the concept. You've probably seen how leather burnishers are made, especially if you're watching this video. This tooling is going to allow me to simply hold on to this piece of material and spin it. I'm going to be drilling a hole, putting in a set screw, and that'll make sure that the power transfers to that little shaft and it'll rotate so I can do the turning operation on it. Now for the other end, I've taken the center out and I've machined this. This is 3/4 inch diameter hole, 1/4 inch diameter hole, and it looks a little bit like this one except it's shorter. And that is going to fit right over the tailstock quill. Now this 1/4 inch hole will line up and it'll hold this in place. I'm going to need to drill a set screw or two on this side so this doesn't move. Once it's locked into position like this, I can go ahead and do all my turning work to make the burnishing tool itself. So I need to drill a couple holes, I need to tap a couple holes, and then we'll be ready to actually test the concept and see how it works. Well, there's my proof of concept, guys. It's definitely not perfect. I've never made burnishers before, but I wanted to get the process down, so now I can focus on the woodwork. Alright YouTube, well I did have one minor mishap during the course of the project. This is the original headstock piece I made. I had to make a second one. As you can see, I broke the tap off inside the hole. That's just being stupid, using a dull tap. I should have thrown it away probably a year ago, but I kept pushing it until finally it broke. So, lesson learned, don't use dull taps. So I had to make the piece over again, and here we are. I am going to sell these probably through eBay eventually once I get a design that I know works and I'm happy with the quality of how they come out. Don't know what the price point's going to be yet. That's something I just have to look into. And before you ask, yes, there is something slightly different about me. I did lose one of my teeth, and it sucks, but I've had gum disease for a while. I'm also diabetic, which is another strike against me for oral hygiene and whatnot. And I grind my teeth at night, which doesn't help the situation at all. But luckily I'm not a vain or narcissistic person. I don't stare in the mirror all the time, and I honestly could care less. As long as I can still eat pizza, we're all good. But hopefully when the business takes off a little bit more and I have a little bit more money, we can take care of this stuff. Not the face. The face unfortunately stays the way it is, but the teeth they might be able to do something with. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you once again for stopping by. Hope to see you on the next one, and I will see you again soon.